Fantastic. Thank you so much. And welcome to the most amazing panel you have ever attended. Because we've been talking about change management and wellness and the impact that design ops can have on the organization. But we need to look forward. What is happening with all the faff about artificial intelligence? Is artificial intelligence going to have an impact in any ways on our lives? And what is this impact? What are the synergies and the opportunities? So for this session, we have a panel, a very diverse panel, a global panel of experts with different takes, different views, different experiences. It's a co-creation panel that is going to be led by Farid. I start introducing all the panelists, and I will hand over to Farid to facilitate. So Farid, he is the creator, inventor, and promoter of this co-creation type of panel. So it won't be just people talking. You will be able from the audience to interact and chat with them. And remember, I ask all panelists and speakers to share a metric and a fun fact. So if we talk about metric, for Farid, it's all about adoption percentage over time. And he sees that the real magic of design ops is change management. His fun fact is that he has, we find out odd things, a degree in dentistry. Sorry, I can't just think about Farid making some stuff in my mouth. So Farid has a degree, James, stop it, has a degree in dentistry. Then we have Anna. Anna's fun fact is that she is a huge horror movie fan. She's from Poland, and her favorite metric is the voluntary participation rate in our design community routines and rituals. So it's about engagement, it's about how people works with other people. So high results means that the team is engaged and is happy. James, I told you we have fun facts. His fun fact is that he broke not one, not two, not three, 4 collarbones. I can't imagine how painful that was. And if we look at his favorite metrics, is frequency of design handbook share on Slack by the design team. So I love that. Renee, we can see Renee. Her fun fact is that she was an all-state flautist in high school. So her favorite metric is design ops, tools, analytics. And I agree a lot with her. And I don't know, we both feel the pain of not having access to a lot of analytics from our vendor partners. So, well, let's just make some rumor here. And then last but not least, we have Ronnie. Now, his original language is Russian, and he is a chess expert. So I wouldn't mess up with Ronnie. And his favorite metric is the speed to market, so super critical in a competitive landscape. So I don't want to waste or take away more time. You can read where everyone works in the profile, in the slides. You can connect on LinkedIn. But Farid, our dentist, to you. Oh,
Great, thank you very much.
there was a fake fun fact. You figure it out.
Yeah, one of them are fake, so I guess people will need to figure it out. Great, so just to double check, some housekeeping. We've shared the link to our FigJam board in the chat, in the general chat. Let us know if you have some issues, but all the discussions will be happening in the FigJam board. If you have any questions or recommendations or maybe some feedback or even some screenshots of some of your work or diagrams or anything else, please add them. Please do this co-creation session. Let's do that together. So we had introduction, so let's go straight to the how FigJam works. So I will spotlight myself. Please join me in this section, how FigJam works. While we're waiting for others, we'll just quickly share how you can do stamps and emotes within FigJam. So by clicking on E button on the keyboard, you can share hearts or any other stamps that you would like to do, like to share. If you are interested in something, please share emotes as well. So like this is the way how you can share some of the feedback with us, because we want to co-create all together. But most importantly, if you will activate the hand tool by clicking on H keyboard button, please go into the high five spot, and by moving your cursor really fast, we can all do the high fives. Yay, I can see that people are joining us, people are doing high fives. This is great. Great. So the goal for this session is to provide a comprehensive data-backed exploration into how AI integration with DesignOps can enhance productivity and strategic innovation. So also, while we are waiting for others, we have a couple of fun sections here where you could introduce yourself to the community. If you would like to share your LinkedIn, if you could share some kind of notes, what are you doing and how you could be helpful for others, please share your social media profiles here, so for others to connect. And if you want to have a photo booth, we have a photo booth section here as well. So let's get started. So we would like to start while we, like other people are sharing their introductions, we could go into the current challenges section. So before we start, we wanted to hear from you. We have 3 questions. We would like to understand how do you feel about these statements, as strongly disagree or strongly agree. So we have 3 questions, and the way how you can vote it, you can just click on this alignment scale, and we will be able to see the results soon. So the first question is, my organization is committed to the future of AI and is making significant investment in its adoption and integration. So please vote here. Let us know where, and we will show the results after. So it will be interesting to get your perspective. Great. I voted myself. So let's get to the next question. We actively incorporate AI tools, practices, or frameworks into our DesignOps work. That's an interesting one. I see people are voting. So let's get to the last question. The potential of combining AI with DesignOps is currently overhyped, or maybe underhyped. Great, and let's see the results, and that's the most exciting part. So, what we can see here, for the first question, people are somewhere in the middle, and some of us are far on the right side. For the second question, it's hard to say where we are right now, but we could discuss that. And the last one looks like we are all somewhere on the left side, so that's pretty good news. We are agreed that it's not overhyped, maybe it's underhyped, and maybe we need to explore more how AI could be more helpful within design operations. Before we will go into AI literacy mastery levels, any of the speakers, maybe James, could you share some of reactions or observations based on the results that we've got here?
Yeah, I love to see how people are disagreeing. We have that's some incredible alignment that we disagree that combining AI with DesignOps is currently overhyped. So what I'm excited to hear is how we feel about that. What are we excited about? What is the potential? And I'm looking forward to having those conversations with y'all today.
Love it, love it. Great. Let's switch to the next exercise, and this is like very interesting for me personally, is AI mastery levels. So we've created these 5-level mastery levels of AI literacy within the organizations. And as you can see here, there are 5 levels. The first one is we have initial awareness within like our organization around AI. The second level, we have basic understanding of AI. The third one is we are on intermediate proficiency. The fourth level is much more higher, is advanced literacy, and the level 5 is fully matured. I'm not sure if anyone is on the level 5, but it will be interesting to see. If you would like to learn more about these mastery levels or maturity levels, I added the link here to a full post here. But let's start voting. So please select the level where you feel your organization is currently at. One second, I will send it to the back so we will able, yes, now it should work. Great, we see that people are voting. It will be great to, Renee, it will be great to get your perspective on AI literacy mastery levels and where we are standing right now within this group.
Yeah, so it looks like most people have the basic understanding, which is where my company is right now. Having workshops, the ethics around AI, there's a lot of problems around whether or not AI, it's a brain, right? And so it knows what people tell it. And so if garbage in, garbage out, you have to kind of watch things like that. We all know about ChatGPT, but there's like a million different tools out there for designers and researchers with AI capability. So yeah, it looks like most people are basic understanding.
Love it. And I'm happy to see that James voted as level 5. And I guess because he's working at Microsoft, but James, could you please share your perspective?
Well, I don't know if I can. I'm only 3 months at Microsoft, and there's still some questions about what I can and can't talk about current work. But what I can say is that, publicly, you may have heard about some Microsoft AI projects. That thing called Copilot. But what's really cool is that, Microsoft has been investing in AI tooling for a while. And what I love about the conversations is that today we think about ChatGPT, but there's a long history of AI and ML work in a ton of products. I mean, if we think about Apple, for example, it's like they've had face detection in their Photos app for years. Siri Siri's like keyboard auto prediction stuff. Microsoft has had some tools as well. And so it's been amazing to see that investment and growth and maturity of those tools as there's been such a heavy investment in it and a lot of like consumer interest in it. So it's cool.
Love it. And I see that Steven also voted as level 5. I guess he's working at Google or Microsoft or any other company, so curious to know. Great.
He might be my boss.
Yeah. Got it. Great. So Anna, do you have any thoughts here around where we are right now within the industry? Maybe how much time it will take us to evolve and be at least on the level 4, I guess?
I think that when I look at the matrix, what is really interesting for me is that there is a gap. Yeah, we have only a few people who are at the level 5. Level is right now 0, and then there is a large population of people at the lower levels, meaning that even though we consider AI as overhyped, and we saw these memes with CEOs of different companies talking about AI a lot, there is still a big misunderstanding of this concept and lack of understanding of this concept. So there is still a lot to be done, and I'm super happy that we have an opportunity to meet here and to share the knowledge, share best practices, because I'm looking forward to that. I already at my work see a lot of opportunities coming out of AI. There are still some risks, and I'm sure that we will tackle that, but I perceive it as an opportunity for sure.
Love it. Ronnie, do you have any thoughts by seeing all the results and all the different levels, maybe some reactions here.
Yeah, I think that there's different layers. I look at technology like over history, and there's different levels. I think being fully matured in an organization like Microsoft, Amazon, like Apple, that makes sense. Like they're the ones building the infrastructure. But if you think about like cloud computing, there are only a few companies, AWS, again, Google, building cloud computing infrastructure, but it created 1,000 people on the application level, right? And so I think 99.9% of companies are going to be on the application level, which is building on top of what these like AI giants are doing. So I don't think most people in most industries will ever get to that level of maturity because they won't need to.
Love it. Yeah, that's a really good highlight. Thank you very much for sharing. So let's get into the next section called AI for DesignOps. We might not have enough space here, but we will be adding, all our speakers are going to add some sticky notes and maybe screenshots or any other things that they would like to share about AI for DesignOps. But for the audience, I would love to share one important section here. It's called Your Observations and Questions. So if you have any questions for speakers around AI for DesignOps, please ask them within this Q&A widget within the FigJam board. You can ask it anonymously or you can share your name. So it will help us to facilitate the discussions. And another interesting thing here, we have some notes for observations. So if you have some interesting highlight or insight that you find out during the discussions, please just save them here. It will be great to understand what kind of things people see during our co-creation session and discussions. Great. So AI for DesignOps. I feel like this is the section where we are going to speak about how AI could be integrated within the ways how we work in design operations. The next section will be around unlocking new opportunities. So we will explore other things that we could focus in the future, right? So for AI for designers, we could focus on like what we could do like today and maybe in the next month. But for unlocking new opportunities, we will take a look into like what we could do in the next quarter and next year, right? So it will spark some interesting ideas and conversations. And the last section will be around, are we ready for AI? So AI for DesignOps, who would like to go first? And maybe share some of your observations. James, because you are on the level 5, I feel like it will be great to start with you first.
Yeah. So I can talk a little bit about the way that I've been thinking about AI for DesignOps, and I'm going to attempt to talk and note take at the same time. But we've had these AI tools for a little while, and I believe that they're really in their infancy. Like when we think about the interfaces for these AI tools, they're mostly like chat based, and I think that that's just a very first stage of the interaction layer for those AIs. I think Adobe is doing some really interesting things where they're actually building what were like chat-based AI, generative AI tools, and building it into the existing application ecosystem that they have, which I think is the right way to think about AI applications. And on that particular note, Adobe, like content-aware fill has been around for a while. Like it's weird that like content-aware fill went from being in product and then out of product, out of Photoshop and into text-based tools. And now it's back into Photoshop and it's like, whoa, it's this like AI thing, but it's been there a while. And so I think it's really interesting that as these tools mature, the way that we're going to use them is going to change. I think it's very early right now. And so a lot of, for me on the DesignOps side is like around communication, documentation, image generation, the kind of like standard stuff. Like I have to say, I use like AI writing tools almost every day, whether it's like at Microsoft Teams, communications, whether I'm in, Slack, on some of the communities I belong to, drafting emails, writing internal wiki documentation. I feed a lot of bullet points to an AI writing tool that just kind of like fleshes out my writing a little bit. And so from a skill perspective, it's been all about learning prompt generation. Man, I'm doing a terrible job at note taking. Is Farid, are you, is it, I'm going to capture this afterwards and I'll share it with y'all on the board. What's interesting has been, I've been experimenting a lot with how a lot of design ops, and this came from Jackie's session earlier today, involves storytelling. And like, I am not a great illustrator. I'm not a great photographer. I used to use stock photos a lot as part of my storytelling artifacts, but now I'm finding the image generation AI to be really helpful with that. So I use tools like PowerPoint has a designer feature that can auto layout and add some design flair to your presentations. You could throw in a Mid-Journey or Firefly generated image and really spruce up your ability to influence your stakeholders and tell your stories. One of the other kind of interesting thing that we've been experimenting with as well has been a lot of content these days. I mean, we had this thing where we went through a global pandemic. Video captioning and transcription, AI generated. Video descriptions. Now you can summarize a video transcript with AI and drop your video descriptions in. What used to take me, 4 years ago when I was doing that manual work, it would take hours of work, especially after a conference like this, to summarize videos and pull out highlights. And there's some really amazing technologies that are automating all of that, which just means we get to speed up our workflows. I could now run that on videos and get that done in 10, 15 minutes, which is incredible. There's some really cool, I don't know if y'all heard, but we announced some Copilot integration into Teams. So you can now have Copilot summarize meetings. And those meeting summaries are really helpful from a note-taking perspective. It can pull out action items and it can tell who you're talking to or about and assign those action items. There's some really cool stuff. So I've been really loving the exploration of how we can increase our efficiency with, kind of admin, not admin, but data entry capturing kind of tasks that the AI today is really helpful for. And when I think about the future of AI and design ops, I love the knowledge operations space with design ops. And I think about knowledge management repos. I think about design handbooks, craft handbooks, product development handbooks. There's some cool exploration work about how we can train language models or chatbots to understand our organization's context and then be able to respond in our internal chat tools, which is awesome. So how great would it be if, on Teams or Slack, you could say, hey, what are our animation principles? And instead of the subject matter expert who might be away on vacation or something, doesn't see that message and can't respond, and that new person to the company doesn't get that message, if we could have a chatbot that's trained on our internal documentation, write a response that says, hey, these are our organizational's animation principles, click here to go learn more. What an incredible support tool that we could do. And then I think about other things with training AI models. I like reading about a lot of the medical diagnosis work that's happening and how they're training IA models. And I think about, man, we were talking earlier, data around design tooling, design process, product development workflows. And if we had really high-end data, how we could train an AI model to suggest efficiency opportunities. And then we as the specialists can go in and make those changes, introduce processes or, introduce that layer change management that Jackie was talking about. Because right now, I'm finding we have to scrape all that data and analyze it manually. And I'm dreaming, I'm oh my God, let's get to that point. But we've got a little bit of maturing to do first. So.
Love it. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing everything. I feel like the main highlights here is that right now, all the large organizations are investing heavily into AI, and they are creating these value code drivers, value code pilots, or maybe sidekicks within the tools that they have. And I feel like all the tools that we're using as Excel, PowerPoint, or even Figma or Visual Studio Code will have more interesting features hopefully soon. As we know, Figma acquired Diagram, and they are investing heavily right now in AI, and hopefully that will help us to speed up the prototyping, the ideation phases, and everything else. But one of the interesting things that I highlighted, James, is the knowledge management. I see a lot of organizations right now are working on their own internal AI Stack Overflows by connecting your current knowledge bases, the data sources, or maybe playbooks, right? We could speed up our IT team. We could help our HR team to resolve some of internal questions, right, around the policies and everything else. So by connecting all these different data sources and having this AI chat GPT like experiences where people could ask questions, not externally but internally, and get internal answers, this is like the main focus areas that I feel like everyone is focused around. And you added a lot of interesting tools. I didn't try Reflect app, but I saw it in one of the demos. It's pretty impressive. Could you please share some of
Yes, it
your?
is. It is actually a great tool for this knowledge management support, which allows you to create a different connections between a type of information that you collect. It allows you to create a mind map, and it's really, really nice. I actually discovered it pretty recently. I've been testing it, and I'm surprised with its potential. But what James also mentioned and what I put here on the board are the tools supporting the notes taking. And it might be notes taking during a meeting. For example, the tool called TLDV that you see is a great one because it also creates a summaries for you, and it's very intuitive, it works very fast, it's very efficient. And the Otter AI, on the other hand, I found it very useful in the support of the UX research activities. And I think also, when I think about AI, I think that is also a huge opportunity for the support of the research ops activities, not necessarily or not only design ops activities for now. So definitely those three tools, I put it here because I recommend it, but on top of that also Notion AI is working pretty great. If you are familiar with Notion, I know that we have quite a big fandom here probably. I strongly recommend this AI solutions that they integrated lately. And for me, it's been also all about making my work more efficient and making my life easier. So documentation, as it was mentioned, note-taking, note-keeping, but also verifying if the logic behind my decisions and my ideas, my structure of information was correct. So I also use it on a daily basis. I cannot imagine basically my work right now without the tools like that. I think it's great that we have it.
Love it. I have one ask for the audience. So we've added, and I feel like we are crystallizing all our thoughts into like main buckets, right, on how AI could be used for design ops, right? I've added a couple of them, like research ops. This is a huge thing, and I'm curious to know others how they are using. Maybe some of like Dovetail right now is investing heavily into AI space. Note taking, I added a couple notes here that James shared around Microsoft Teams. Victoria, I'm not sure if Victoria is working at Zoom, but she's promoting Zoom AI summaries, so thank you for sharing. And this is great that we are all connecting here. And knowledge management, I feel like this is a huge topic, so please, if you feel like some of the notes that others added could be clustered into these different buckets, please do. Ronnie, do you see? I know that like you spoke about staffing and hiring the right people, right? Finding the right people for like specific purposes. Could you please share your observations on this space? Like, what kind of use cases, what kind of value people could get out of like this AI empowered staffing models?
Yeah, yeah. I'll just give a quick disclaimer that we're not a staffing company. We're a creative matching platform, and we do have talent that people can hire. But yeah, we think about like speed to market as a core metric for us. So we work with all these big brands, Amazon, we work with Google and Indeed and Johnson & Johnson. And so when we go in, we think about speed to market, like how can they get their deliverables out faster. And sometimes that is getting talent in, but a lot of it is helping them automate rote tasks. So James mentioned it with video creations, like how do we create, take rote tasks and make them simpler. Anna was talking about efficiency and making her life easier. So what we've done is we've just understood the context. I think James mentioned it as well. This company is spending X amount of time here, and what can we do as a creative matching platform to match them with either the right resources or the right tools to help them save money? Because ultimately, a lot of design orgs and creative orgs are struggling with the fact that they're seen as a cost center, and we're trying to change that perception and make them seen as a profit center, right? Because they're adding tremendous value. It's just that a lot of leaders are still in an old school mentality. So it's really about saving time for these organizations, whether it's using technology like AI or giving them the right people armed with the tools. And at the same time, we're training all our creatives. Our creatives are based in Africa. We're training everybody on AI tools. So I think somebody asked me the other day, it's like, would you hire somebody that didn't understand how to use Google today? Right. It's like you wouldn't if they couldn't search. And it's the same thing for us. Like everybody in our community is going to be trained on AI. It's going to be maybe not level 5, but at least like a level 3.
Love it, love it. Renee, do you have any thoughts, reactions, maybe based on the discussions that we had, or adding a new bucket that we could find for AI for DesignOps?
Yeah, so I think as part of DesignOps, we're not police, but we provide those guide rails for our team, and we have to keep our designers from going out and installing, if you're working at a big company anyways, installing all of these different plugins on Miro and Figma, and putting company data out into the world. That to me is a huge, it's a legal risk. It's a company reputation risk. And so, there was a presentation earlier about how DesignOps is not just for design, right? And we really need to work with those teams outside of design to make sure that there's a holistic policy in place for how to use these things, and can we have something internal like Copilot.
Love it, love it. Great, and I feel like will be a good transition to the next topic, into unlocking new opportunities. And within this unlocking new opportunities, we wanted to speak about how you can actually start adopting AI within your organization, right? So one of the things that Renee mentioned is the data management, permissions management, or risk management, right? And how we could facilitate this adoption in the right way instead of exposing some of our internal insights, internal data into other AI platforms, right? That will be a good opportunity for us to focus on the unlocking new opportunities section. So let's summarize the AI for DesignOps. We have a couple questions here. Jackie asked, what do you think should be training AI models? If this is something DesignOps should be learning as a skill. James, I see that you have voted. Would you like to answer?
Yeah, I actually think that training AI models could be a responsibility for designers. If I think about AI interfaces and how, in the last 10, 15 years, we've had a big push with accessible and inclusive design in the real world. I come from a software web world, digital product world. It's like you're applying inclusive and accessible design principles to like flat UI. It's like those principles need to be applied to training AI models. And so there's a lot of discussion about biases and lack of diversity in current AI models. And I think that we could actually bring some of the principles that guide our work to that training work and be responsible for that. And I think that it would be a great skill up level for designers to start getting comfortable with that and bring those principles across. if you're interested in reading, I'll share the link in the Figma board. Mia Bloom has a great Substack called Designing with AI, and she goes deep on the different AI generation tools, and there's all kinds of issues with them today. And she's really encouraging, people that work on these products to bring that mindset, that accessible and inclusive design mindset to these products. And I think that's going to be our responsibility to help usher that into our organizations, to help facilitate that from a learning, documentation, education, change management perspective.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for answering. Yeah, and I feel like it will be a great section for unlocking new opportunities to speak about AI ethics as well. And I feel like the second question is somehow related to AI ethics, where Paula asked how should balance the AI tools and the human touch that designers brings to the team. I will keep this question for the next section here. Let's go to the next one. What are the best tools that can use to support our work? Why we should use it, and how to prepare for this new world? Who wants to answer to this question? Anna, I feel like you are exploring a lot of interesting tools right now on the market, and you might be the best person to answer this.
I am exploring, that's true, thank you. However, I think that I already mentioned the ones that I'm using on a daily basis. On top of that, I would add also, of course, the BART that I'm right now exploring, Bing. I'm surprised how good it is. ChatGPT, of course. Lately, I read that ChatGPT started cooperation with a Midjourney, and that they are working on the new type of prompts that will also allow us to make these solutions even more visual and more tangible for us. So I think that if you will check all the tools that we put already on the board, and also during the meeting, I will also try to put as many new ones as I will be able to quickly find operating within different windows. I strongly recommend it. Why we should use it, I think that we also already partially answered that. So I believe that it could make our work easier, simpler. It could be, depending how big is your design ops team. Sometimes it happens that you are the only design ops person within the organization. It might be that the AI will be this invisible peer of yours, which will be a kind of a consultant to you. You will be able to verify if the logic that you suggested for a certain solution is the one that is understandable, etc. So I am using that for that sake, and so far I really appreciate the outcomes. So I don't know if I can add anything more to that. Maybe any other speakers would like to jump in to that.
We built our own AI tool. So what we found was we were matching people with talent, and it was taking a long time. So we designed an AI matching platform that anybody can go in and use, type in what they want. It's like a ChatGPT like interface, asks you questions, helps you understand. Sometimes people don't know the skills they need. They know what the outcome is. They know the deliverable that they have, and the interface helps them refine what they're looking for, and then sends them lists of creatives that they can then share internally. So you can check that on our website, meaningfulgigs.com. But that's what we've been working on, and we're working on a host of other tools that we'll be releasing over the next few months.
Love it. Jakey added a lot of interesting insights to the board. Jakey, I wish we could have you as a speaker here. And I saw some of your LinkedIn posts that you are working on AI within the ops. So thank you very much for sharing all your insights here. Let me copy them, and I will try to map them to the next section. So for the next section, we are going to speak about unlocking new opportunities, right? And there are some interesting topics that we might cover, right? The risks. There was an interesting question on the training models, like, do we actually need to have it as a skill? Maybe in the future, in the next couple months, there will be a new tool that will allow us to train models really fast, right? Because right now the entry point requires some machine learning engineering skills to start. Maybe if some people know any other tools here, please share them. The next one is AI adoption, where we could speak about, okay, like as a designer, how we could facilitate the adoption of AI. And I'm curious to know, like, did you create some kind of cross-functional programs or maybe horizontal programs that are focusing on AI in design, AI in product, or AI ops in general, right? And I'm curious to know your perspectives on how to facilitate, and I feel like Renee could help us maybe to share some of her observations here as well. AI ethics, this is a big point, right, that we could discuss. AI ops and the quality. So I added a couple notes here and the security. So let's get into them. Renee, would you like to just by the things that we've discussed here, right? By the topics like risks, training, like new skills for AI, for ops, AI adoption, and other things. Would you like to go deeper into specific topic and just share your observations and insights that you see right now?
Well, so actually, I would like to go into the AI ethics to follow this question. So I started typing out something, but I feel like AI should really be used to do all of those transactional things, not be the face of your organization. You still need to have a touch, a personal touch, the human touch, empathy, things like that to the team. You can't just say, hey, AI, prioritize this for me. And it does it without having all of the feelings and knowing, I think right now anyways, having that human intuition. I could be wrong. I'm sure it's going to happen at some point in our future. But right now, I just feel like we're the face of the design ops team. And so we should really focus on communication and making sure that people know how to get to us, people know how to get support from us, and how to use AI to make their lives easier, but not replace us.
Love it. And I feel like the main highlight here is that AI is the value co-driver, not the driver, right? AI is a co-pilot, not the pilot. And now when AI gives us a lot of interesting superpowers, and instead of doing conceptual design or creating a research script from scratch, we could generate some drafts, and we could start focusing and focus on more higher things rather than the execution. Something that the term that I would like to use is art direction, so that instead of having just one concept, we could generate 10 concepts. And instead of having just one hypothesis, we could generate 10 hypotheses, and AI superpowers ourselves to do this more like an art direction instead of saying that AI is going to replace us, right?
Right. And kind of on that same note, somebody mentioned earlier that there's the chat bots and things like that in Slack, and we could use the company data that we all, if it's all connected, we can use all of that to have the people be able to ask that questions instead of currently they're asking us questions, which takes so much time out of our day. We aren't able to focus on the strategic things. And so having kind of AI be that, answering those questions for us really is going to help us. It's going to free us up to do the strategic things and not keep answering the same question over and over and over again.
Yeah, I love this point. Moving from execution to strategy, right? Freeing up us from all this routine work so we could spend more time on research, innovation, and more creative stuff. Great. So let's speak about the AI adoption. This is a very interesting topic, and it will be very practical for this audience. So I'm curious to know if any of you created some kind of AI programs, AI design programs within your organizations. Do you have, how did you set up the ceremonies? How did you set up the communication? How did you set up the distribution of the outcomes of this team, and how you are facilitating the AI adoption overall within your organization? So I'm curious to know from the speakers and also from the listeners if you want to share some of your notes here, please do. And I see that Steven added a lot of notes. Steven, I need to connect with you on LinkedIn, so I will do that later after this open panel. Dear speakers, who would like to jump into AI adoption? Maybe James?
Yeah, I could jump in here. So I wrote a sticky note here about DesignOps helping to connect the advancements in AI and business opportunity for designers. Because when I think about AI, it's proliferating so quickly across like so many layers of the ways in which we work. I think about applying AI to DesignOps work. I think about applying AI to a design tooling or design process work. I think about how designers get trained up on AI to execute on AI product development. And so there's like lots of different lenses that we can kind of think about this through. And one of the things is that I think that we are going to there's a push in recent years to help designers develop business acumen, to understand business language, to be able to be more strategic, to drive product roadmap. Brian Chesky, famously during COVID has shifted Airbnb's product strategy to be more service design oriented, and design very heavily involved in that. And I think that training and up-leveling designers to see AI product opportunities, to be able to push design to be economic and revenue drivers in their company and not necessarily rely on product management to figure that out, I think is a really interesting opportunity. I was actually just chatting with somebody at work today, and they came up with an AI idea where it was like, why can't we have AI image generation for emojis that don't exist in our chat tools? So if you put an emoji in parentheses or in your colon and it doesn't exist, couldn't we just have a button that generates that emoji on the spot? And so that's a really cool thing that came from a designer. And what I would love to see is more exploration and connecting that to business outcomes, which would be really cool. I also think that we have a lot of opportunity for designers to be embracing basic AI tools in their toolkit right now. It's we talked about exploring sketching, prototyping, being able to do more variants more quickly, and you can use generative AI tools to do that. There's some really cool tools like Midjourney's in-painting that allows rapid brand placement. If you're more of a brand or creative designer, you can drop logos and creative brand assets into existing images and stuff very, very quickly. And there's some cool stuff like that. But I'm thinking about in the future AI adoption. And I actually, this is maybe a little bit of a pivot because we've talked about a lot of benefits, but I also am kind of worried about the downsides. I don't mean to slight if there's anybody here that builds generative UI AI tools. From what I've seen, it's very early infancy. The tools are generating a lot of homogeneous design. The human element that Renee was talking about seems stripped, and I think that it's going to be really important that we understand the way in which we leverage AI. I think about certain task optimization on the web and the internet and digital experiences, like checkout experiences, where it's so data driven that we basically landed on almost single experiences, single patterns for checkout. You spent 8 years at Shopify. It's so data driven. There's one checkout, right? It's just totally optimized. But I worry about what that does to the web, to digital products, to creativity, to experiences. And I hope that we're very mindful as we move forward with these tools that we don't take that human element out. I love websites like Cargo Collective, where it's almost anti-design. And so I'm really interested to see anti-design generative AI, breaking the rules of design and what we can come up with. I think there's some interesting things there. So, yeah.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for sharing. So I can also share some of the things that how we set up the AI progress at our organization. So I feel like what DesignOps could actually help is to facilitate the AI adoption, right? DesignOps is usually we're working as design department. In some cases, people might be related more to the ops department, but like let's take first option as an example here. And I feel like the thing that you could do as DesignOps right now is to try to gather all the people who are interested or maybe doing something in design ops, in AI design. And the way how we set up such program is that we have this foundations level that is community crowdsourced, internal community crowdsourced, where we are sharing like, oh, here are the trainings that every designer should like do if they want to go deeper into AI, or some other like here are the tools that are approved within our company. So there's the first level of the foundations where it's crowdsourced from the community, internal communities, where everyone could contribute. And another teams that you could set up is function specific, like user research, product design, design system, UX writing, right? And to facilitate these discussions, you will able to have these functions to standardize, crystallize our understanding and how we could get value out of AI things. And out of these different functions, you will able to generate some interesting concepts or maybe invest in your own AI tools internally within the organization. But I feel like another interesting learning for me is it's important to have these horizontal roles who can help to facilitate. This is like internal consultancy for these different functions, like how we are able to create AI specific workshops that will help product teams to find the right use cases and the right value code drivers, or maybe data security specific horizontal roles who will work across all the functions and will help them to understand the permissions, which kind of data sources they could use, and etc. So yeah, this is some practical insights here as well. So we've shared a lot of thoughts here, a lot of things, right? So let me go to the questions. Anonymous asked, is there any AI tool that could look into a design for a company and suggest the ideal design systems for it? That's an interesting aspirational question. Maybe we are not there yet. Who wants to answer? Anna, do you have any insights? Have you seen any tools related to design system
I
AI
knew that
space?
you're gonna call me out, but this time, unfortunately, I do not have the answer. I checked a lot of tools related also to design system, but unfortunately, nothing comes to my mind right now. But I will think about it, and if something will come back, I will post it here. So if anyone else would like to take that one, feel free.
Love it. Jackie asked really good question. Has anyone trained an AI model on the panel? I can take this question. So like there is a tool from Microsoft that they are not supporting anymore, but it was called Lobby. And you can train your own models for computer vision. So what I was trying to do is improve our assets and provide all the additional names that we could have for specific assets within our digital asset management. It didn't work out for me. Maybe someone else in this group did something interesting, so please share. Did anyone try to create their own, not model, it will be hard to create your own base model, right? But maybe did anyone use embeddings from ChatGPT, from OpenAI, or maybe functions from OpenAI, or another interesting point here that we could actually do as a practical thing is the instructions management. So this is like the actual thing that we could do as DesignOps, is to create the better instructions for the model, for the OpenAI ChatGPT model, so that like if people will ask, okay, I need to work on this workshop, help me to brainstorm on the agenda, and we'll generate the agenda based on the format that we specified. And we'll connect the dots within our knowledge as well. But like speaking about connecting the dots, it's a little bit different task here, but I would love to hear others. James, you added some, components AI, interesting. Framer. James, would you like to jump in here?
I would love to talk more about these tools, but they are tabs in my 1,000 tab Chrome experience that I have just bookmarked, and it's on my list of tools to explore. But I wanted to share them specifically. Components AI is what looks to be an interesting tool to generate responsive components and pages. And we were talking about design systems work there. Interestingly, what I have seen, and actually I know that the team at Shopify has done this, has been leveraging AI a lot in design system governance and support documentation. So if you go to Shopify's current help center, they actually have a tool called Sidekick that can provide you support with their help documentation. And they're exploring it with their design system documentation. And I believe that they are doing some cool things in their GitHub repos. So it might be worth exploring what they're up to there. But I know that from leveraging AI to help with design system adoption, documentation, and management is an interesting problem that they're looking at.
Love it. There's another question from Jackie. What are panel's favorite ongoing learning resources for AI? Any favorite YouTube videos, podcasts, people to follow? Jackie, and for all others, I just recently found out one interesting creator on YouTube called AI Jason. Let me add a sticky note here. He is the best. So if you are looking into the ways how to actually use AI, not as a ChatGPT experience, but go a little bit deeper, AI Jason, this is his name on the YouTube. His second name is Zhuo. Don't remember the details here, but his YouTube name is AI Jason, and he is going really deep into how to do the better instructions management, how to use, instead of creating your own AI models, right? How you could set up the right workflows. And I feel this is a huge topic that we could explore. And going back to the question, what one thing we could take out of this discussion is we need to learn more about the ways how we could set up our own workflows, value code drivers by using these AI models, right? AI Jason, he's doing a lot of work there, and if you will just watch his videos, you will understand the reason why I'm so excited about the work that he's doing, because you will able to create actionable, valuable things within the organization by using some of the tools. And by the way, he recently used Reflect, so yeah, that's interesting. Again, observations. So I'm curious about the time. So we are ending soon, right? In 2 minutes.
Exactly. So we are towards the end. So maybe because all the questions have been asked on the platform, what we can do is final remarks. So what is the single things that you were not thinking or considering that this panel gave to you as panelist? Who wants to start? Farid.
Okay. I feel actionable thing, right? The first thing that we could do as DesignOps right now is to create awareness around AI in design department, start capturing, creating such initiative groups, set up OKRs, connect people together so that we could define programs, horizontal programs across the whole organization, and find like-minded people, because that will help you to do the true adoption of AI within the organization, right? And it's important not to think about from design lenses. I'm sure product department, engineering department, they're already doing the same things. Just connect with them and have these cross-functional rituals every month just to connect and align, right? And another thing, personal action items is now it's not impressive if you are using ChatGPT, right? Everyone is using that. But if you will go a little bit deeper, and we'll just watch AI Jason. He's the best. You will able to set up the right workflows that will actually drive the value co-drivers within the organization. And we heard a lot of use cases. I see a lot of organizations right now are generating their own AI-empowered Stack Overflow for internal knowledge, for example, HR policies, or maybe like any other things that you would like to ask. You could ask this chatbot experience to get answer quickly. Knowledge management, user research ops as an industry will change a lot in the next 1 year, I guess. Maybe, I wanted to say like 3 years, but I feel like it will be even faster. So a lot of organizations right now are over-investing into AI and trying to add AI into every way of like working. I feel like for SMB companies, it's better just to wait and just to practice instead of creating your own AI tools, because FANG companies like Microsoft will like just like redefine the whole toolset suite, right? So maybe
Don't
it's not
say.
the time to like try to invest into that.
Okay, let's make sure we have a final remarks from everyone. Renee, what's your final remark?
I'm just really excited to see all of the ways that people are currently using AI for design and design ops. AI, what is it? AI Jason. I've put it in my team Slack channel to share with everybody to see how we can use that for value creation. So thank you.
Ronnie?
Yeah, I think the thing that a lot of people should do is partner with organizations that are already solving these problems, because everybody's super busy. Everybody has deadlines and bosses and firings going on around them, and just like try to become an expert on something new. And that is extremely hard. So partnering with folks that already know this stuff will help a lot of people get further faster.
Fantastic. Anna?
I think that for me, one of the discoveries is that we are, most of us are at the same level when it comes to the exploration of the AI and the fact that we see a lot of opportunities there. So that's for sure something interesting, because we are at the beginning of this long journey. So I'm curious where it's going to take us. And I'm super grateful that I had a chance to be here with all these people, participants and speakers. I learned a lot from all of you. Thanks for this session. Thanks, Farid, for
Thank you. Thank you, Anna. And last but not least, with 4 broken collarbones, James, what are your final remarks?
It's not a lie. I've done both twice. What a time to be alive. Like, AI is literally the coolest fucking thing to happen. It's the invention of the internet. Like, it's so awesome. And to be a part of this transitional shift with our work and what we care about, what we're passionate about, the fact that AI is an operational tool, it increases efficiency. It's like it was made for us. It's awesome. So my advice, stay curious, have fun, get out there, play, share what you're working on. I want to follow all of you on LinkedIn, and I want to see all your experiments, everything that you're learning. It's just like, it's awesome. And so, you know what, just go out and be rad and let's make some cool shit.
Fantastic. So, folks, this was it. The first edition of the Design Ops Symposium is ending just like this. After we looked at the way of working, our wellness, change management, impact, measuring impact, how to drive and push enterprise agility, looking at the future and what we can achieve, and probably next year we may have some fantastic use cases, case studies from you, both participants, panelists, speakers, telling us what did you achieve with artificial intelligence in the next year. So this has been phenomenal. Thank you, Farid, for facilitating. Thank you, Ronnie, Anna, Renee, James, for contributing. Thank you for all the questions. I mean, all the engagement throughout the whole day, these 4 hours or so. It's been a honor hosting and having you all here. And you will be able to watch the recordings for a few days, and we have a FigJam board that we can maintain and keep alive. And I think I will personally go back because there's so much goodness, both in the recordings and in the Fig Jam that we really created. I love it, James. I was waiting for that. I mean, Renee, you had a challenge, right? We were trying to build the fun fact for Renee's daughter, but let's see if we can make it before I stop talking. But it's been just really a lot of fun and really inspiring. I mean, I definitely need to go through another time everything that's been said. So, any feedback? Let us know. Massive thank you to Kirsty that organized everything on the background and coordinated all the effort that went into this, and to all of you that made this possible and asked questions and shared knowledge. With that said, massive thank you, everyone.